Hello and welcome to Newslaundry interview. Today we have with us Banojyotsna Lahiri. She is a senior researcher and Umar Khalid's partner. Umar is an activist and a former researcher at Jawaharlal Nehru University. In 2020, the Delhi police accused him of in the larger Delhi riots 2020 conspiracy case and booked him under UAPA. It's been 3 years since he has been behind the bars and the trial has not yet even begun. Karkardooma Court and the Delhi High Court have rejected his bail petitions, and in May this year, he moved the Supreme Court with his bail application. Since then, the Supreme Court has adjourned his matter 7 times for varied reasons. But today, we are not going to talk about the nitty-gritties of the case. In fact, we are going to talk about the implication of the case on the man behind the bar and on his loved ones. And for that, we have with us Banojyotsna. Thank you, Banojyotsna, for joining us for this interview. And is this correct pronunciation, Banojyotsna or Buno? Because I've been following you on Instagram from a very long time.
Yeah, my friends call me Buno.
Okay.
It's a little tongue-twisting Bengali name.
Okay.
So, Banojyotsna is actual pronunciation.
Banojyotsna.
Banojyotsna.
Banojyotsna. Oh, okay. So.
But in North India, people call me Banojyotsna, so it's okay. I don't mind. I mean, I'm okay with all forms of.
Okay, I'm so sorry
names.
that.
No, that's not a problem.
Okay, so while I was going through your Instagram feed, your the post which I loved the most was there was this reel you had posted in which Umar is coming out of Patiala House Court. He is surrounded by police officers, and amidst all of that, you're both trying to shake hands. And you caption it as, "I made him an offer which he could not refuse. The deal is final." And since then, I've been meaning to ask you, what was the offer you made?
I mean, see, of course, we write a lot of captions to be catchy. The thing is that in that Patiala House Court or any court, even in Karkardooma Court, they come surrounded by police, obviously. UAPA detainees are treated specially that way, and we are not supposed to go around very close to them. Sometimes we still manage to, get a hug or a handshake somehow. And that day we had a decisive moment, like we could shake hands. And if you ask me, the deal is to be happy, no matter what. That is the deal that we have struck. And you could say that, yeah, that was the deal. And I made that offer to him, and he could not refuse. That whatever it is, however sordid it feels, however difficult it gets, we'll still be happy. That's a deal. And that's on. That deal is on.
How have you been trying to stick to that deal?
I mean, see, it's very difficult. But what makes it easier is that we are not the only one suffering, right? All of us who stood for democracy, for equality, for the constitution in this country or abroad, everywhere, forces of democracy are under various attacks. He is not the only person who is in jail. He is not the only person who is under assault. He is one amongst many. All of us are suffering. All of us are also fighting, right? We have not given up on the fight. So that way, when you collectivize it, it becomes easier. When you think that we don't want to exceptionalize our situation. When you exceptionalize it, it becomes more difficult. Why me? Why us? When you think that, it's everybody. A person who does not directly have a police case, fighting a police case, terror case, but stands for democracy, stands for equality, stands for justice, is that person happy? If all of us are going through such trauma, right now. Even a person who is not directly suffering is also suffering. Because what's going on around us, no one is immune from that. So yeah, it's difficult, but when you collectively fight back also, because in our situation, that is the fight back. When Umar survives, that is the fight back. When I survive, that is the fight back, right? So people are also fighting even more, like you're a journalist, your organization also for critical journalism has come under attack in different ways. You guys go, even then you guys go, right? Go to the ground, you report. That's your fight back. that you refuse to get silenced, and you are still going despite all this. I'm sure there are offers to be compliant, there are offers not to critique the government, but you guys are not doing it. That's your fight. For us, surviving, that's the fight. So all of us are fighting. That makes it easy. That makes it better.
I'm sure, like in 2008, maybe you would have met the first. You have mentioned that in 2008 you met the first time, and you might not have thought about these things, that this is how this relation is going to unpack. You started dating in 2013. How did it start?
I mean, see, at the beginning it was like university, people date.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I mean, people date, people then get over that date, people move on, and that's what. At the beginning it was like university, we were together, a lot of people were dating, like we were also dating. It's not that serious that time.
How did you meet in 2013? Like, how did you started dating in 2013? But
I mean, see, I'm a little senior to him. So we were both doing activism at that point of time in JNU. JNU, it's a political campus. We were doing activism, we were questioning our older political beliefs together, not just me and him, a lot of us together. So it was a very intense time. At that point of time in JNU, you are those hot-blooded radicals, but then you also confront with reality and you test your radical politics. And so within that mayhem that was going on in JNU also, JNU every day something or the other would happen. It was a very vibrant campus. Yeah. There was a lot of political activities at that point of time. So in between, so that is the time when we kind of started dating. Actually, at the beginning it was not very serious, but as and when 2016 happened, first time when
he was booked under sedition.
Yeah. So he was booked under sedition, and that was one of the most eye-opening event of the entire country, right? That suddenly we saw that kind of witch hunting of students. We could see our own witch hunt going on in live television,
how the media was covering it.
Yeah, how the media was covering and giving twist and anti-national, labeling as people as
leader
anti-national.
of some tukre gang.
Yeah, all those things were
students,
new things that were coming, right? But so unprecedented. That was unprecedented. Like that kind of media trials. Now it has become much more normalized, right? Now when we see certain media, we know like what to expect. But at that point of time, to even think that can an independent media talk like this? Can a media be, this tone deaf to students, what they're trying to say, and constantly they are parroting the narrative of the government.
I need to say something to Omar right now. You are more dangerous to this country than Maoist terrorists.
So all those were very first time it was happening. And then they were arrested, all three of them at that point of time. For the student is going to jail for a program, for asking questions, for dissent. All those were unprecedented, but it happened.
So this changed your equation with Umar?
Yeah. It.
And how? Like how did it change?
See, frankly, once again, that JNU incident changed the equation of the whole country in a way. All of us came face to face with fascism in a way. We could see that what is unfolding. So when that happens, when that, like you asked me in 2008, did you imagine? No, I did not imagine. In 2008, I also did not imagine that people will be lynched in my country and no one will bother. No one, as in the media, will not bother. The police will not bother. The institutions will fail like this. The institutions will crumble like this. I did not think. But it happened, right? It happened in after 2014, it became a very normal thing that people can be lynched on road. And one after the other cases of that can happen. So yeah, our country changed. Fundamentally, our country changed. So when the country changes, you also, make new friendships. Relationships also change then. You also know in your own family, you start identifying bigots and you start identifying fanatics. मतलब बहुत लोगों की रिश्ता बदल गया ना मतलब a lot of relationship changed and ours changed towards the positive, like we actually became like
closer and thicker.
Yeah.
And in 2018 there was another incident when there was an attempt to assassinate him.
Yes. So that
again it also had an impact on your relationship with Umar.
I mean see, if you are standing next to a person, suddenly someone pounces on him. We were standing outside the Constitution Club and there was a program about to start. And he had just finished his PhD and he was very, that he had taken a long hiatus from activism at that point of time. 7-8 months he was not going to programs and all. He was sitting and writing his PhD and submitted his PhD, that too after a long court battle because the JNU administration was not accepting his PhD. But finally, the PhD was submitted. We all were happy, relaxed, and he was also excited to address the first program after his PhD. And then we were standing outside. This man out of nowhere came and first pounced on him. So then a few of us were there. We kind of मतलब उसको छुड़ाया, सीधा खड़ा हुआ, देखा उसके हाथ में गन है, and it's pointing straight at Umar. Okay. Then for some reason that man started running from there. Later what we knew is that he did pull the trigger. The gun got jammed for some reason. Had the gun not got jammed, he could have died. He was standing in close proximity. Now when an incident like that happens, when you survive that incident, you start loving life more. And yeah, when incidents like that happens, and these were like the big milestone that way. But the overall day-to-day trolling that he used to face, the death threats, the at times on road, like a lot of people would actually come and shake hands and take selfies and all that. But a lot of people will also, there will be incidents of.
How were these incidents? What kind of impact these incidents were having on his and your mental health?
I mean, of course, not good. The thing is that earlier, those kind of death threats, which used to come every day on Twitter and all that, we ignored. But when that assassination attempt happened, all those became real. All those became potential. That, I mean, it's not some faceless person giving a death threat in the digital space. The gun was real. The bullet was real. We saw 6 live cartridges in that guy then threw his gun and ran away. When we retrieved the gun, there were 6 live cartridges in enough to kill a human being. The point being that, and people have been killed, right? Gauri Lankesh was killed. Kalburgi was killed. Govind Pansare was killed. They were also people like us. I mean, much bigger than us, but people who have refused to get silenced and all, and they have got killed.
So what would he tell you? What would you discuss after these incidents?
I mean, see, one thing was not to let it overwhelm you. And not to get scared. It's ultimately to intimidate us, right? It's not that Umar stopped talking after that. And that's why he is in jail today. Because he did not stop talking. Stop raising his voice. Yeah.
Correct. So you met him at a very interesting time in a very interesting year, that is 2013, you started dating. How was he in 2013, right before the BJP came into power, which was just a year before that? What was his political ideologies at that time? What kind of a man he was in that year?
Yeah, both of us were left activists and we were in JNU, and although our politics had evolved already by 2013, a lot of, the way left politics is perceived and practiced in India, already there were questions. And we thought that, we need to draw from other politics also and broaden the view of left politics. So that was a very theoretical debate discussion that was going on in JNU. So we were also a part of that. But when this thing happened, when the democracy kind of started imploding after 2014, then once again, see, our story is not our story. It's also always, it's been the story of JNU, of other places, where, started making alliances. Earlier in JNU, the main fight was between left organizations. कौन कितना ज़्यादा radical है, वो उसी का लड़ाई चलती थी. But after that, all the left organizations came together when they faced the threat, of fascism, of democracy, of constitution, the things that, and how much we took for granted, how much we took democracy for granted usse pehle, how much we took constitution for granted. Those were the things that we, started discussing and realizing.
Post 2014.
Post 2014. And, made new friends, many new friends. Earlier, जिनके साथ बहुत मतलब debate होता था, लगता था कि यही main enemy है. Then we realized that, no, it's not like. So, making new friendships, re-looking at our politics, the politics that we used to believe in earlier, and broadening our ideologies, broadening our minds. Like sometimes, that's I think that's a very normal thing of university politics, that sometimes your vision ultimately is very, very truncated. Once you step out of the university, anyways, the world opens up. New possibilities open up. So so those kind of discussions and all would happen.
So coming to his time in jail, do you visit him often in Tihar jail?
Once a week.
Once a week. Since from last 3 years you have been visiting him.
Not last 3 years all through, because there were times during COVID when physical mulaqat was stopped in the jail. But so that time it was not in our hands. In both the first wave as well as the second wave, there were significant, like 3-4 months of periods when. So then it would happen through VC, video call. So now it's like 2 mulaqats per week. One day he has video call with his family, and one day either me and other friends also, not just me. Someone or the other goes and meets him in prison.
Oh, okay. And what does he tell you? How is he spending his time in jail?
It's not, jail is a horrible place to be in. No one should be in jail. I mean, we aspire for a society where, there will be no jails. But the mulaqats that happen, so obviously he is in that sordid place for a whole week. So that half an hour, 40 minutes of mulaqat that we have, we don't make them sad. Like that has to be happy hour of our life. With that happy hour, so that we can survive for the rest of the week. Both of us. More for him, of course. I mean, I'm after all outside prison. But we make sure that though that 1 hour we are happy, So we laugh a lot.
What do you discuss in that 1 hour?
I mean, he asks for gossip, what's happening outside. And
He loves gossips?
He actually does. For a political person, he actually quite likes gossips and what's happening. And so he also follows the news. There are TVs inside, and then newspapers and all that. So he also follows the news. We discuss about what's happening outside and with other friends and all that.
And what else does he tell you about his time in jail? What is he reading inside jail?
He was arrested in 2020. That was preceded by the lockdown. The country was already in lockdown that time. Before that, the CAA was going on, right? So we had a very hectic time. He had a very hectic time during that CAA, going to places, talking to people, like addressing meetings and all that. So And before that also, for a long time, he had stopped reading. मतलब time ही नहीं मिलता था to read. So in the last 3 years, he has read close to 200 books now. So that is one good thing that has happened. That finally he has sat and read and gone back to reading. And he has read a little more than 200. The library of Tihar is actually not bad. That also has a good collection. So he gets books from libraries, and also we send books from outside. So yeah, so he has read he has read fiction, non-fiction, every kind. So he has been a voracious reader.
Okay. And what do you talk in your jail mulaqats, physical mulaqats, apart from him asking for gossip?
Yeah, तो यही मतलब the books that he has read, we discuss that. What's going on politically also, what's going on, that takes a lot of time to discuss, like, the political developments and all that. So yeah, so this bookshelf is fully full of, in fact, this one, most of these books are also books that have come back from
Tihar,
yeah.
Oh.
So we discuss about that, political developments, and then like he tries to crack jokes, but his sense of humor is very, very bad. So most of the time I said that, I tell him often that, I don't know what you'll become once you come out, but stand-up comedian is definitely one of that option. He sometimes imagines himself to be a stand-up comedian and writes jokes and tells them, and they are the horrible jokes. Like,
can you share one with us?
No, I mean, they're so pathetic that I cannot share. Like, they're so pathetic. Like, he thinks they're funny, they're not. Like, it's so bad that even I forget. दिमाग में ही नहीं रहता है यार, इतना खराब जोक है, पर वो लिख के लाता है कुछ jokes. और वो सबसे घटिया होती है.
Is that to make you laugh?
I mean, yeah, like, PJ का जो concept है ना, जो कि so pathetic that you laugh, उसी टाइप से होता है.
Okay. And does he ask you about do you talk about when all of this will get over, he'll be finally out?
Yeah. I mean, see, he's not going to spend his life in jail, right? He will come out, definitely. And yeah, we make plans about that also. क्या करना है बाहर आके.
Do you write letters to each other?
I have written to him once or twice, but it's more about कुछ काम की बात बोलनी है तो jot down कर लिया उस टाइप से. मतलब I'm a pretty mundane person. He has written 1 or 2 letters to me. He writes to others, a lot of people, because we meet every week, right? So there's as such letters नहीं है, but to other people who he cannot meet and all that, to them he writes letters.
Okay. And what does he write in those letters? Have you?
I mean, yeah.
Is he hopeful and?
Yeah. See, hope is something we can never let go of. We never let go of. Once you give up on hope, it's over. I mean, for everything, for the situation in the country, for the situation in Palestine, whatever, we cannot give up on hope, right? We cannot let that hopelessness get you, because that's what they want. So yeah, in all these situations, he has not lost hope. It's a difficult thing. It's a difficult struggle. Keeping hope alive is also a struggle. But it's a struggle. That's what we are fighting. So yeah, hope is there. Hope in all his writings and all that. He has written articles from jail also. I think he has written 5 articles which have been published in various whatever. In those articles also, if you see, yeah, there's always hope. There is no hopelessness.
Any plans to write books?
I mean, he takes down notes and all that, and definitely there will be a jail memoir someday once he comes out. But for that he has to come out of prison. He cannot sit in the prison and write about prison. So yeah, a jail memoir will be there. And also he has been reading so much. I've been telling him to, make outlines for other books also that we discuss. That has not happened yet. क्योंकि टीवी देखने में बहुत टाइम चला जाता है. जितना टाइम लिखने में ज़्यादा तो बेहतर होता है. लेकिन टीवी में बहुत टाइम जाता है, खास करके अभी तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं है. अभी for last 1 month if I ask him what have you read, what have you written, the answer is 0. Why? Because World Cup is going on. Okay, so he loves cricket.
Okay.
He doesn't understand
And he loves football.
Yeah, so there we do not see eye to eye at all. So
both of you argue over that?
Yeah, I mean argue as in वो मुझे क्रिकेट का कहानी सुनाएगा, क्या क्या मैच में क्या हुआ and all that, as if I care. But then if I start talking about football, then यार बोर मत कर, तू अब तक मेरे को क्या कर रहा है, तू तो बोर ही कर रहा था, अरे क्रिकेट जैसे बोरिंग गेम. तो but whatever, yeah. तो पहले in JNU also, when we were in JNU ना, so our group, everyone in our group used to watch football, and especially during the World Cup when we were there, say 2010 World Cup, 2014 World Cup, all those when we were in JNU. So what Umar will do is that बात कर रहे हैं, मान लो सारे लोग फुटबॉल पे बात कर रहे हैं, बहुत पैशनेटली बात हो रहा है. अब मान लो कोई बोला कि हाँ ये 2006 वर्ल्ड कप का बात हुआ ना, वो बोलेगा हाँ 2006 में एक इंडिया ऑस्ट्रेलिया टेस्ट मैच हुआ था, याद है, करके वो ना उस मामले को क्रिकेट की तरफ घुमा देगा. कुछ देर बाद someone will say, why are we discussing cricket suddenly? And then we'll realize that Umar, because he doesn't know anything about football, and he cannot keep shut. He cannot keep his mouth shut. He has to talk non-stop. So he'll turn the discussion to cricket. तो अभी भी बहुत झगड़ा होता है, मतलब वो जाके सुनाएगा ही मुझे, whether I like it or not. And now the ultimate thing is that, you know, I'm in jail, so you have to tolerate me. So then I have to listen to his stupid cricket rants. And then, but I cannot tell him about football. वो फुटबॉल के बारे में बात करे तो दिखता है उसके चेहरे पे कितना बोर हो रहा है वो. So then I have to stop.
Or who is his favorite cricket player?
विराट कोहली, राहुल द्रविड़, और भी कुछ है, भूल गया मैं. Rahul Dravid, basically the favorite cricketer of all time is Rahul Dravid.
Okay. So these are your complaints. Other complaints from Umar? His bad jokes? Like he talks about cricket. Any other complaints?
He talks a lot. You know, that's a complaint. Everyone around him.
And you don't talk a lot?
उतना जितना वो बात करता है ना, किसी मतलब भाई, और हम लोग तो सब ये मतलब, see, all of us obviously we sympathize right now, especially thinking that the most difficult part for him in jail is that he cannot talk so much as he. So we all sympathize on that, but the next moment we think that यार एक दिन तो बाहर आएगा, और तब there will be revenge of ये जो 3 साल वो बात नहीं किया ना, उसका revenge होगा हम सब पे.
Okay.
So that's something we dread. I mean, we all want him to come out, of course.
Yeah.
But we are also dreading that कि ये जो 3 साल में बात नहीं हुआ, उसका revenge होगा हम सब पे.
Okay. So because of his talkative nature, has he been able to make friends inside jail?
हाँ, I mean he has. The thing is that in that jail also what happens is a lot of people don't stay for too long. It's a jail where a few people, like this kind of special cases, are there for a long time. Otherwise people get transferred to other jails. So you can't have long-lasting friendship that way, because either people get bail or they are transferred to other. But yeah, he has friends. He makes friends everywhere, wherever you go.
And he's become popular and like that friend.
Yeah, because whenever I go to meet him, there invariably there will be people who will come and say कि भैया तो you know भैया के साथ हमारी दोस्ती है और भैया के साथ बहुत बातें होती है. All that. Every time there will be some people who will stop him midway and take the phone, because we talk on a phone in a glass wall. So someone will passing by will stop and talk to me and say hello to me and कि भैया हमारा बहुत अच्छा दोस्त है. बहुत सारे लोग अब तक बता चुके हैं. That a lot of people told me.
So people have become fond of him inside the jail as well.
Yeah,
It's a good thing.
Yeah, of course, that's a good thing. They're like
that he's been able to keep his spirit alive.
Yeah, spirit. I mean, frankly speaking, for 3 years, I don't know whether I would have managed, or the way he has kept his spirit is really good. I mean, I don't appreciate him, but this one thing I have to appreciate, like the way he has kept his spirit. But that's what I said, that was the deal. That is what we decided. if you break the spirit, you break us. Right? That is the challenge. ठीक है, मतलब नेहरू भी तो 9 साल जेल में थे. Nehru spent 9 years in jail. A lot of people have spent years in jail, and whoever have spoken up in this country, in other countries, they have faced oppression. Imprisoning innocent people is one of the long-lasting oppressions of human history. So yeah, we were activists, we are activists who have refused to get silenced. We know that.
But does he talk about the mental breakdowns? Because in one of the interviews you had mentioned that he has severe PTSD. How does he deal with that? And does he tell you about all of that? Or he tries to hide all these things from his loved ones?
No. PTSD happened when the assassination attempt happened. After that, he went through... constantly then you start suspecting everyone around you. When there's an actual attempt to kill you, then start suspecting everyone. So that trauma was there on all of us, not just, of course, mostly on him, but others who would be around him will also always be on the alert. Constantly you have to scan that koi kahin se aake attack to nahi kar raha hai. Abhi that is not the case. Everything said and done, inside jail, there had never been any attempt on his life or whatever. The jail authorities also take special care about him because he has been given a guard at the beginning itself. The court allotted a security guard because of the security threat on him, and the jail authorities also are pretty efficient in this thing. He always has a guard who accompanies him. So that is not there. But yeah, it's a different kind of trauma to be inside jail, right? And yeah, he talks about the difficulties that is there. Obviously we cannot not talk about it and, completely whitewash it and just share PJs and talk about cricket. Right. That doesn't happen. So yeah, it's difficult. It's just the curtailing of freedom where you wake up and you cannot go out. That in itself is a very, very difficult thing for any individual to face. So that is a difficult thing. He also talks about the difficulty of...
What are the other difficulties that he talks about?
Not being able to pursue the normal life that he should have in the mid-30s, which is like the prime time that people live. He is spending in jail. That it itself is difficult, right?
Does that pass on to you, his family, but that he's a young man who is in his mid-30s, and this is the time where you have the most potential to pursue anything, and the most crucial years of your life are being whiled away in jail, as you said. So how do you and maybe his parents deal with it?
It's difficult. Definitely it's difficult. For his parents also, his family, his sisters, they are also very strong. They are, but it doesn't matter how strong you are. It's bound to affect you, right? It's bound to, when I am free, my freedom also reminds me at times that, that Umar is not here. When I'm going somewhere, having a good time, thought invariably comes that Umar should have been here too. Umar should have watched this movie. He should have, been in this place. He should have traveled with me when I'm going to Calcutta. So yeah, that is like a nagging feeling that you have to deal with it. But you have to deal with it. What else can you do? It's not in our hands. We didn't do it. We didn't choose this. But it was forced upon us by the circumstances, by powers, oppressive powers. And like I said, we are not alone in this. There are a lot of people who are going through this. So,
when do you miss him the most? You said you miss him when you go to Calcutta, and maybe he should have been with you. What were the favorite thing to do together?
Traveling. We used to go, me and other friends, Traveling is something like whenever I've traveled, that is the time when you miss him a lot. Yeah. Also, like in day-to-day life also, like if I see something earlier, I would message him that कुछ भी छोटी छोटी बात ना मैसेज करना, वो अचानक से मतलब देख के अचानक से लगता है कि अरे ये उमर को बता सकते थे लेकिन बता नहीं सकते है ना, एक हफ्ता वेट करना पड़ेगा to tell him. Yeah, so small little things as well as when I'm traveling, when I'm watching a movie or whatever. सब लगता है कि
साथ में होना चाहिए था. What about his parents? Like you said, they are strong, but do you and his parents talk about all these things, how to cope up with it?
Yeah.
When will he be out?
Wait, the thing is that it's not in our hands. That we know. It's just that we have to be patient. All of us. From Umar to us. All of us. And वही अभी सब्र का इम्तिहान हो रहा है.
In retrospect, do you ever think that maybe if not just him but you as well were not that critical of the ruling administration, then things would have turned different for you and him? Maybe you could have led a normal life. Like, do you ever feel that maybe you things?
We never feel that. It's out of question. There is no regret, absolutely. Like if someone puts me on a time machine and lands me to 2019 when the CA was passed, I would protest as much I had protested. Umar would do the same. Like that was a law which was fundamentally changing the democracy. That was a law which was fundamentally changing the constitution. And we couldn't have sat and watched. Our education, our conscience will not allow us. And now if he is facing that for speaking out against something like CA, then so be it. Absolutely there is no regret. There is no question of not being critical of this government which is completely destroying the democracy that was so painstakingly built over decades. We can't allow them to do that. I mean, we are fighting. Maybe they're winning, maybe they're not. We don't know. But the fight goes on. And there is no regret. Absolutely. We don't want to leave what is normal. I mean, this is the normal for the country right now. Like the hate speeches are normal. Right? The absolute dissolution of democratic institutions are normal. Then resistance is also normal in that case. What were we doing? We were resisting. We were resisting in the most peaceful, democratic way possible. That is what the anti-CA movement was. And during the Delhi riots, if this government did not see who killed the majority of Muslims, who burnt 7 mosques out there, who completely, destroyed the lives and livelihoods of the minority population there, and they put the blame on the anti-CA movements and said that this caused the riot, then let it be. Like, history will prove who was on the right side. History will prove what was correct. This kind of bizarre conspiracy that the Delhi police had drawn, and it's now trying to, not even put the case on trial. It's been 3 years. They don't have the courage to put the case on trial because they know once put on trial, this case will go down exactly like the sedition case that was put earlier. They took 5 years. One evening of program in JNU, they could not put the case on trial. They took 5 years to file the charge sheet and put it on trial because they knew once put on trial, once faced with law and order, this propaganda has no space. And same thing is happening here. Same thing is happening in the Bhima Koregaon case. So they don't want to face trial. They don't want to face law and order. They're just dragging on. So it's their problem, man. It's not our fault. We did what was right, and we were not the only ones who spoke against CA. Millions of people spoke against CA. Some of them have been handpicked and made the scapegoat. But that doesn't mean that we'll not speak against CA. कल फिर से उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने लगे अगर वो कानून, फिर से रेजिस्टेंस होगी, फिर से देयर विल बी प्रोटेस्ट, एवरीवन विल कम डाउन बिकॉज it's a question of democracy, it's a question of our constitution.
Right.
So therefore there is no regret.
You would not have changed it for anything.
Absolutely not.
Do you have your parents' support in this? Like, because these are crucial years, your partner is in jail. There is hope, but there's no surety when he'll be out.
Yeah, my parents are also political people. They are left activists in Bengal. My mother is still very active actually. My father is also politically conscious. So they understand, they see through this. They don't fall for the propaganda that they run on Umar. They know Umar. They love him. They have met him many times and they love him. They know him. They know that what's going on.
In what ways they support you? And
like my mom goes to every program that happens in Calcutta on these questions and other questions and keeps asking. She remains worried actually. She remains worried more than I am worried. Matlab, she is much more, matlab, she keeps asking what's happening and all that. So sabr ka imtihan ka wo bhi part hai.
This is the last question. Any message for the people out there or for the ruling administration?
When Umar, ruling administration का तो मुझे कोई मैसेज देने का औकात भी नहीं है, इच्छा भी नहीं है. But when Umar got arrested, so that was the time when we were apprehending arrest every time. He was earlier asked for questioning once. They questioned and then let him go. Next time they called him in for question, he was taken into custody. So every time we thought that this time he might be taken into custody. So he had actually made a small video which we that time had shared before his arrest. कि अगर आप ये वीडियो देख रहे हो तो मैं अरेस्ट हो चुका हूँ, गिरफ्तार हो चुका हूँ. So there he said something that they are trying to arrest me, they are trying to keep me in jail, but they are also trying to keep you in jail in a different kind of captivity. I'm going to be in jail, but the freedom of thoughts are on everybody, right? Some way or the other, all of us are captivated. So it's not this jail that, we have to fight and come out of, but to keep media free, keep questioning free, keep dissent free. We have to constantly fight for freedom, and we are all actually fighting a freedom struggle that way. All of us. So yeah, let's fight for freedom. That's
the message.
Yes, together.
Thank you, Banojyotsna, and thank you so much for this interview, and I hope you all get justice. Thank you.
Thank you so much.